Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the podcast where we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrián Cruz, and today we'll be discussing the just recently announced 60-man roster that Javier Aguirre submitted to CONCACAF for the Final Four in Nations League this coming March. So, just a quick recap. As you know, this coming March is the Final Four of CONCACAF Nations League, where the United States, Canada, Panama, and Mexico will play the semifinals and then the final and third place matches in, if I'm not mistaken, what's still to be considered the hosting stadium of SoFi in Los Angeles. There was some talk about moving that to Arizona due to the fires, the recent fires in Los Angeles, in the Los Angeles area, but it looks like it's still going to happen there. So, as you may or may not know, CONCACAF requires every single team participating in the Final Four to submit a 60-man roster to CONCACAF at least like maybe 3 weeks before or shortly less than a month before the actual Final Four. On March 10th, we will have the definitive 23 roster list of players that each team will take to the CONCACAF Nations League Final Four matches. All right. So in this case, the most interesting, we're going to go over the entire list, right? We're going to go over the 60 players on a rapid fire as soon as we can. The quick things to mention here, right? Vasco Aguirre called up 11 players that are in Europe in the names of Guillermo Ochoa, Rodrigo Huesca, Cesar Montes, Johan Vázquez, julianaraujo, edsonalvarez, Luis Chávez, Orbelín Pineda, Cesar Huerta, Raúl Jiménez, and Santiago Jiménez. He also called up Julián Quiñones and Niro Lozano and Obed Vargas from MLS. So these are just some notable names that you will go through the roster, right? Please keep in mind that this is a 60-man roster, so you will see a bunch of names that you might think of, well, why is his name here? One, yes, there aren't that many players like he can call up. And two, this is a 60-man roster, right? So he needs to put names out there in the event that, for example, let's say on the 23 roster that he provides, a week or 10 days before the actual Final Four, there's an injury. He can actually go back to that pool of 60 players that have been submitted to CONCACAF and grab a replacement for that injured player, right? So that's the whole reason why you're going to see a plethora of names here. So please keep that in mind when you see some names and then you're like, what the hell is this guy doing here? But we're going to start with the keepers. Luis Malagón from America, Guillermo Ochoa from ABS in Portugal, Raúl El Talarrangel, Carlos Moreno from Pachuca, who he has been doing absolutely great with Pachuca. He's been playing consistently with them for the last couple of years. I think he's a well-deserved call-up. Alex Padilla with Pumas, which I think this is more of a favor to him because he hasn't been playing with Pumas that consistently as we thought he would. And then Andres Sanchez from San Luis, who I think deserves the call-up. From the defenders, on the defenders, right? As I mentioned, we have Rodrigo Huescas from Copenhagen, Jorge Sanchez from Cruz Azul, Cesar Montes from Lokomotiv Moscow, Israel Reyes from America, Víctor Guzmán from Monterrey, Johan Vázquez from Genoa, Jesús Chiquete Orozco from Cruz Azul, Jesús Angulo from Tigres, Jesús Gallardo from Toluca, José Castillo from Chivas, Mateo Chávez from Chivas, Eduardo Aguilar from San Luis, actually a really good talent. You should definitely follow him on ligamx. Don't forget to look at our weekly recaps that we drop every single Tuesday or Monday, depending on how we feel. But just check those out. Julianaraujo from Bournemouth. Julianaraujo, who has been injured for the last month or so. Hopefully he gets back, but hey, he's in the roster, right? Alan Mozo from Chivas. Kevin Alvarez from America. And Gerardo Arteaga, who I am surprised to see here, given the fact that El Vasco Aguirre has rarely used him or called him up throughout the last year and some change that he's been with Mexico, or the last, I don't even think it's been a year, dude. It's been, you know what I mean. He doesn't really call up Gerardo Arteaga. He's doing it right now. We'll see. Midfielders, we have Obed Vargas from Seattle Sounders, Luis Romo from Chivas, Carlos Rodriguez from Cruz Azul, Edsonalvarez from West Ham, Luis Chávez, Dinamo Moscow, Eric Lira from Cruz Azul, definitely a great call-up. He should definitely make it to the final 23 roster. Marcelo Ruiz from Toluca, El Piojo Alvarado from Chivas, Diego Lainez from Tigres, Alexis Gutiérrez from Cruz Azul, Sebastián Córdoba from Tigres, Orbelín Pineda from AEK Athens, Jorge Rubalcaba from Pumas, Gilberto Mora from Cholos, Fidel Ambriz from Monterrey, Elias Montes from Pachuca, interesting player, you should follow him. Jeremy Marquez from Atlas, Eric Sánchez from América, José Ramírez from León, Jordi Cortizo from Monterrey, Raimundo Fulgencio from Tigres. Again, you're going to see some names. It's a 60-man roster. Don't get as surprised as I am. I believe Raimundo Fulgencio is getting called up because he got to play during the South American tour. So I'm assuming El Vasco Aguirre is paying some favors, right? He's paying it back. That's why we see Fulgencio. Brian La Cotorra González from Pachuca, and Rivaldo Lozano from Santos. And the forwards, we have Alexis Vega from Toluca, Chino Huerta from Anderlecht, Raúl Jiménez from Fulham, Guillermo Martínez from Pumas El Memote, Alfonso Alvarado del Plátano from Monterrey, again. Okay, just another name. Ángel Sepúlveda from Cruz Azul, Henry Martín from America, Julián Quiñones from Al Qadisiyah in Saudi Arabia, Germán Berterame from Monterrey. This is an interesting one. I don't think he's going to make it to the 23 final roster, but it's just interesting to see him here. Quick note, if he does make it to the final 23 roster and he plays even a minute for Mexico in an official match, he will then be considered a formado en Mexico, therefore will not consume a non-formados or non-homegrown player for Monterrey and ligamx, so they can actually go out and acquire some foreign talent for the team if they want to, right? Another extranjero in ligamx if that's the case. Santiago El Bote Jiménez from Milan, Efraín Álvarez from Cholos, Irving Lozano from San Diego FC, and Ociel Herrera from Tigres. So that is the 60-man roster. As I said, a bunch of names out here. Again, I think he's just throwing as many names as possible, so all of them are registered and submitted with CONCACAF in the event that he needs, to either do a last-minute replacement or whatever, you name it, whatever the case may be, whatever the situation is, he will have at least a huge cushion to go grab players from, a good pool of players. If you ask me, there's a couple of names here that might be missing, but I understand why he's not calling them up, like Heriberto Jurado, that he just recently moved to Belgium with Cercle Bruges. So I get he's not getting enough playtime just yet, or he's just letting him get settled in Belgium, which, sure, that's fine. No biggie. There's also the Dundee FC players like Antonio Portales, who I don't really understand why he's not getting called up. Antonio Portales plays consistently with Dundee FC, albeit if he plays really great or bad, that's a different conversation. I think Antonio Portales should definitely get a shot in this roster. Cesar Garza and Chespi Lopez, who just moved to Dundee FC. I understand why they might not be getting called up. Nonetheless, those are a couple of players here that El Vasco Aguirre should be paying attention to, right? They are in Europe. They are playing in one of the top leagues according to the IFFHS or some European freaking thing that mentioned that the Scottish League, at least last year, was top 10 league in Europe. But anyways, I digress. That was not the topic here. So there's a few names that I think you can add in here. The most interesting names that I see here for me are Carlos Moreno from Pachuca, as I mentioned. I think also the addition of in the defense on the defenders, right? I think the addition of Jose Castillo again. It's interesting. And Mateo Chavez from Chivas. I think they've been having a decent season with Chivas so far. I think both of them are getting called up mainly because they were part of the South American tour. So again, El Vasco is paying that favor back. But Jose Castillo is definitely an interesting talent. I think he deserves a call up. On the midfield, I think Elias Montiel is an interesting talent that you should definitely follow. And again, Obed Vargas is another name that strikes to me as very interesting. I have a lot of doubts that he's going to make it to the last 23 men roster, but we'll see. And lastly, on the attacking field, I mean, we have Alfonso Alvarado, who I don't think he's doing a bad thing, but he's a bench player for Monterrey. When he was at León, he wasn't necessarily the starting striker for León in all the matches, right? So it's interesting to see him here not for very exciting reasons. And I guess Irving El Chucky Lozano getting called up, but we figured he was gonna get called up back anytime soon. So I guess this is the one time he's making it to the 60-man roster. I still have my doubts he's gonna make it to the 23 roster. I think El Vasco Aguirre already has his list made up. Maybe 5 players who he needs to ponder and make decisions on. But other than that, this is a list. This is a roster. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you feel that someone's missing, if there's some names like Guillermo Ochoa that you want to say, hey, I don't know what the hell he's doing here. Why is he still getting called up? To which we're gonna say, I don't know, man. It baffles us as well. So yeah, let us know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this roster, 60-man roster? Who do you think who's going to make it to the last or the 23-man roster for the Nations League Final Four matches here coming in March? And yeah, so thank you for, enjoying this video. And last but not least, you can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on TikTok and Instagram. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes. This was the 60-man roster for the Nations League, CONCACAF Nations League. Upcoming matches, Final Four, March 20th. We'll see you on the next time. Deuces.